All right, everybody, we're back with another episode of Lights, Camera, and Action with your host, me, Chris, and our co host, Miranda. Go ahead and give us a hey.
Hey guys, good to see everyone again.
So, as Miranda mentioned the last episode, we're really excited about today's episode. We're going to be talking about marketing yourself as a model. And so, what that entails and what we'll talk about in this episode is your professionalism. A lot of professionalism has to do with social media. We're going to talk about networking yourself and working with others on set. We're going to talk about having a good portfolio and submitting your portfolio. And we're going to talk about working with an agent and how it helps you with all of those things. So we're really excited you've tuned in with us. We hope you got your coffee or your beverage of choice, depending on what time of the day you're watching this. And we're going to dive into this. I'm going to have Miranda lead us off as we normally do, talking about professionalism and social media. I'll hop in with some pointers as we go along.
Yeah, thank you for that awesome introduction, Chris. To start out, let me just say, as a model in the modern day, in 2021, social media is going to be the tool you use most frequently. Whether you are doing work as an influencer, which is a new genre of modeling that's popped up in the last 5-10 years, or you're doing an ad campaign, or you're just putting your own creative projects you've collaborated on social media, there need to be some hard and fast rules that you follow if you're going to be promoting yourself as a model on the internet. So the way a personal Instagram is different from a modeling profile is your modeling career is exactly that. It's a career. It's a business. You need to think of it as a business. And if you're, serious about it and you want to make a career out of it, so it needs to be more professional. Maybe on my personal Instagram or my close friends story, I can post about, I'm going out for drinks with the girls and things not related to my career. But if I want it to be a career focused Instagram, you really need to look buttoned up, professional. I mean, this includes things that are really basic, like spelling, the way you talk about things in your posts. I know there's the whole stereotype of, oh, models are dumb, but I mean, if you watch any pageant or anything, the people want to see models that are like intelligent, well-rounded, put together, and you want to always put your best foot forward the same way you would in any job. I wouldn't go to my day job at the corporation I work for and show up and be, doing something illicit or, swearing all the time or whatever. I mean, there's a level of professionalism you want to put out there. And, you still want to be yourself, stay true to yourself. And there's a difference between artistic expression and, having a little bit of fun versus being downright unprofessional. And I think the line is pretty clear. So just keep that in mind always when you're posting. And if you really just want to post stuff like that in your personal life, just make a separate Instagram page. Or even the close friends feature on Instagram, where you only add, 10 or 15 of your closest friends that you want them to see specific things. So it's sort of like keeping your personal and professional life, which can be really hard when you're a model because your career is you, it's your face, your body, your image. But keeping your personal and professional life separate the way you would with any other job is still really critically important, especially on social media.
All those are really great points. I couldn't agree more. And as a business, I really want to touch on, you touched on it very slightly, but illicit activities, going on your going on your Facebook or your Instagram and posting about like doing drugs or drinking alcohol obviously isn't illegal, but excessive partying and things that could give you like a negative stereotype don't just have a bad reputation for you as a model, but they could have a bad reputation for any other models that you work with, any other photographers that you work with, any brands you may work with. And if you work with an agent, it could really have an impact on your agent as well. For an example, if I, as an agent, work with a model and she's continuously, posting about illicit drug activity on her Instagram stories, a brand may have previously been interested in working with me or really wanted to, but now they may not. They may want to put distance between my brand and their brand simply because of the activities that model is doing, because they don't want their brand associated with that. Most businesses don't. And And that's not, to say that, the right use of certain things is a bad thing, but you know, certain stereotypes or certain things could have negative connotations or negative views on you. And so you kind of just want to make sure you're aware of that when you're posting things. And as Miranda put, one easy way to solve this is having a personal page that's just for you. That I would recommend just setting it as private and, keeping it between you, your trusted friends and your family, and having one that's just for your modeling. This allows you to, still be free and post about the things you're excited to post about in your private page, while keeping your modeling stuff still separate and professional, really. So, it's not just your reputation that you also have to be inconsiderate of. It's other people's as well.
Mm-hmm. I think particularly you had a good point about brands and the way brands want to be represented. So I think a good way to think about it is kind of like if you're modeling for a clothing brand and they market to, maybe they have kids clothing, adult clothing, all the way up to like maybe they market to even like seniors. Like, a lot of places, have clothing for people of all ages. Well, do they want to be associated with someone who maybe isn't posting, family friendly content on their professional page? You know what I mean? So I think it's like what Chris said. Like, we're not saying any of those things are bad. It's just essentially like certain things in your personal life should be that they should be personal, and then certain things should be how you show up at work, because you have to think about it as if you're promoting yourself on social media as a model, that's work. You're working in that space. So it's kind of like if you wouldn't do it at your job, then you probably shouldn't do it there. I think that's a good rule of thumb, really.
That's the best rule of thumb. I love that rule of thumb. If you wouldn't do it at your normal job, you wouldn't do it here. And then one final point too about this discussion is that just always remember, and I always like to say this point when we're talking about this because it's not something we consciously think all the time. But once you put something out there, it's always there for somebody to use against you. So it's another reason to, if you're going to have a private page, to really keep it to trusted friends, just because you don't want somebody else to ruin your reputation. And so that's just something for you, just keep in the back of your mind is if this got out, or if this is something that somebody can spin very negatively about me? And that's not, even if it wasn't intended to be that way, it could. So it's just something to be aware of, like self-aware of as you're posting and doing things, which I think kind of leads us into the next point about networking. Um, Marketing yourself as a model, a lot of times it's just networking. It's getting out there, it's knowing people, it's meeting people, it's working with people. You definitely cannot be very, 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 very successful without working with other people. That includes photographers, that includes businesses, and especially other models, because they're going to have the ins and outs about things that you're not going to know, that photographers aren't going to know, that businesses aren't going to know. And the professionalism really carries over into your networking and working with other people, especially when working on set. And I think Miranda had some points about that.
Yeah, so I think another good rule of thumb is you never want to show up on a set and be, for one, late. Once again, would you be late to your normal job? If you were late to your normal day job, would you be in trouble? Yeah, probably. So, like, showing up late, huge pet peeve of mine when people show up late, don't show up at all, when people do like a no call, no show. I mean, that's something that is going to give you a reputation with whoever you're working with as being a flake. Like you didn't show up, you didn't produce the work that was promised, and that's a big deal. I mean, if you don't show up and you're a model, what are they going to do? Modeling is like your body, your image. So if you don't show up, there's no shoot. So that's like the worst thing you could do on a set, and you will very quickly get a reputation if you start doing that, like a negative reputation as the person who does not show up, who's unreliable, and then you won't book work. Because photographers network, casting directors network, and your name might end up on a list somewhere where they say, oh, this person didn't show up, so like don't hire this person, which would be really unfortunate. Another thing is, like Chris touched on, networking with other models. I think it's so important to lift one another up and to always show up with kindness on a set. I don't like when I've been in a situation where I feel like the other models want to be in competition with me and there's this sort of catty energy. I've had friends in the industry too who have dealt with this. That's just very negative. It gives you a really, really bad reputation, and it makes people feel bad. I mean, it's just not necessary to show up and act like a diva or a prima donna. Maybe you've done twice as much work as the other model next to you, but they booked this gig too. They're here too. They're working with you. You want to work together to have a great result. And then what's wrong with, making a new friend in the industry? Like Chris said, networking with people. So I think the way you show up on set, one, from the job point of view, showing up on time, acting professional on set, but then two, how you treat people. I think that's it just says a lot about your character, the way you treat people. And that goes a long way.
And those are all really, really great points. And we can't really stress it enough that your professionalism on set is just as important as your professionalism on social media. But I know in the back of your head, you're asking me, well, okay, I get it. Your reputation, your professionalism, what does that have to do with marketing yourself as a model? Well, it's because a lot of marketing is about image. It's about your awareness and making people aware of you as a model. And so much of that is your image. And if you think about it with any other business, whether it's a restaurant or a clothing brand, you're not going to go and eat at a restaurant that's dirty or filthy, or that the people in the back are doing something really kind of dumb or ignorant. You're not going to wear or support a brand that does something that's against your core values. And so a lot of these things, or you're not going to go, to a restaurant or anywhere for that matter, where people are extremely rude to you or they talk down to you. You're not going to buy a car from a car salesman who talks to you like you're kind of like a moron. So all of these things relate back to professionalism and how you carry yourself as a model, right? Especially in networking, because networking is all about developing professional relationships. And those professional relationships really only go far if you connect, if you're professional, if you carry yourself well, and people want to be around you and they want to recommend you, right? It's the same thing about writing a review on any product or any service, right? You're only going to give positive reviews for those brands and those services that you reflect with, that you get along with, that you like, or, did something outstanding. So networking yourself is so much about like how you present yourself, how you get together, and how you interact with other people. Those are just, like she was saying, if you don't do it at your normal job, you wouldn't do it with modeling. And I think that applies to both of these points so well. So another point that we want to talk about with marketing yourself as a model is you got to have a professional portfolio. You just gotta have it. Now that doesn't mean you have to spend thousands of dollars or work with some like extremely popular, like really really good photographer to get a professional portfolio. It's not as much about the high quality photo image that you're getting as much about the kind of image that you're presenting.
Yeah, 100%. If you're just starting out, actually, for example, and this is something used on runways still to this day, are Polaroids. Even, just a Polaroid headshot of someone, a standard iPhone headshot of someone when you're at a fitting actually gives a really good representation of what you look like. And it's sort of like if you're just starting out and you don't have a diverse portfolio yet, that is so important, kind of just how you show up in that image. Do you look like you? Is this a professional and accurate representation of who you are? No filters, not crazy excessive hair and makeup, maybe, just like a really good, honest image of like your natural beauty shining through. If you don't have, all the bells and whistles and the professional photographer, I think that can be a really great starting point. And then when you do start booking work, you can use your professional images then with the photographer's permission and then kind of build from there. But yeah, you can start making a really professional portfolio from rather simple, just well put together images, I think.
I agree 100%. And I tell people this all the time too. You can even have your friend, going, against a blank white wall or go downtown at the mall and just take some snapshots of you. You know, it doesn't have to be anything special. And for me, professionalism is more about, kind of the things we talked about earlier and how you're carrying yourself, right? So that also means, you're not taking sexually explicit photos as a part of your portfolio that you're sending to an agent. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten submissions from people who are just sending nudes because they feel like that maybe it might give them some sort of in, or something like that. I'm actually not even entirely sure all the reasons that somebody might do that, but that's not an example of a professional portfolio, right? And so I think that a professional portfolio also is, like she talked about, even filters, not having Snapchat filters and dog ears and hearts, covering your image, but having photos that are, representative of you, but also like professional in a professional, like workplace manner.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, I love just the blank white wall idea. I think there's so many just good creative things you can do with a blank slate. So, I think if you just put on like a, outfit that's just like your basic colors, even like let's say you don't have a portfolio shot, just like very basic colors, like, just natural kind of hair and makeup, and then, do some side profile shots of each side, a front, like here to here, a headshot, and a full body. That can start a really good portfolio for you because it gives the client or the agent you're applying for just an idea of what you honestly look like. What you honestly look like, what you look like from the side if they're thinking about shooting something that's like an artistic side profile shot. So just giving diversity in, your different profiles, your different angles. But also once you start building a more broad portfolio, I think it's really cool as a model when you're marketing yourself to be diverse. So, for example, I have a couple shots in my portfolio that are pretty commercial. And I'm smiling, because it's like commercial, like I'm bubbly, I'm more happy. But then I have some that are artistic and they're like black and white with like, like a line down my face and I'm like very serious, and it's kind of like, and then there's some where I'm swimwear and it's more fitness and I'm showing more muscle. And then there's some where I'm kind of just more lifestyle, I'm outside doing something. So it's kind of like showing, hey, I'm diverse as a model. Like I can work in all of these fields. I can do all of these kinds of photo shoots. And I think that as you, book more work, that's really important to pick shots that not only, are your favorite and look really good, but that show your diverse body of work across all the work you've done.
Yeah, those are all really great points. And I'll put this out here. If anybody wants us to go do a deep dive and give actual like how to on building a portfolio for beginners, you can reach out, let us know either in the comments and either one of us a message and say, hey, give us more tips on building a portfolio. And we'll even explore doing a segment or a quick, Instagram reel or live or something like that, where we can give you some portfolio building tips and show you real-time examples of that. So just let us know. So finally, I would like to dive into marketing yourself marketing yourself as a model. One of the best things you can do is working with an agent. And that's because your agent can help you with all of those things that we talked about earlier. They're really good at helping manage your professionalism and your reputation. Oftentimes, because they have a contract, which kind of gives you some guidelines that you can follow. They're just as important for you as they are for the agency. So that's one really good thing. Don't look at them as a negative. Look at them as like, hey, this is guidelines. They're helping me kind of get this thing in order and let me know what I need to do. That can help you with networking. And if you watched our red flag episode, they can help you keep you safe while you're networking. They can help you with building a portfolio, and they'll help you build your portfolio for free, right? Hey, I need headshots. They'll help you get some headshots. Hey, I want to do some swimwear. I need to get some diversity. They'll help you with that.
Mhm.
And working with an agent can take it even further because they will help you get a booking page. They'll help show your portfolio online, and they'll help network on your behalf as well. So there are lots of really good reasons to work with an agent. I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that 100% too. I think you touched on red flags we talked about last time, and then also helping you with professionalism and just kind of guidelines and things. And imagine too, we're talking about how modeling is work, and sometimes it can feel difficult to separate that from your personal life. Well, if you have an agent, you know, right, and you don't feel necessarily comfortable with a photographer you don't know reaching out to you personally, well, great, you have an agent who can mediate these conversations and who can help you guide the conversation and understand what work is legit and what work you're interested in doing, and you don't have to feel that alone. So I think that's a great point, that when it comes to marketing yourself, your agent is like not only going to help you market, but they're going to be like your biggest advocate. They're like your partner in business essentially, and that really helps you think of it more as a career too when you're marketing yourself as a model.
Great points. And one thing we didn't talk about yet was comp cards. So marketing yourself, and wasn't on my bullet points, which is why I didn't talk about it at the beginning of the show. But marketing yourself as a model, one really quick tip is using a comp card, which is literally a business card for yourself as a model, and it usually includes a professional photo, your measurements sometimes, and your contact info. And if you're working with an agent, I would recommend putting your agent's contact info, but often your agency will help provide those comp cards for you. So I think that that's another reason to work with us. I think we're about to order some special comp cards here for SDS Modeling Co. for a certain model named Miranda. So we are. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it switched over to her, but she was dancing. So we have a lot of fun on this podcast. Y'all don't get to see the behind the scenes stuff, but yeah. So I think comp cards are something else that you can use as market with your, to market yourself. And it's another reason to work with an agent. And it's another thing to really kind of help. I think it also helps motivate you. At least for me, it does help motivate you to kind of keep track of your professionalism, because if you know that you're giving your card out to tons and tons of people and it's got your Instagram and your TikTok handle, then those people are going to be checking your pages out, right? Which is also, again, goes all the way back to the beginning, full circle, of why your professionalism and your reputation is really important.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I think these are all great points. And yeah, they probably couldn't see it, but I was doing my happy dance about getting comp cards soon. I can't wait to show everyone. So exciting. Yeah, so obviously having an agent really helps you in every way, but in marketing yourself especially, because you don't have to try to figure this stuff out alone. So, like Chris said, full circle, back to social media. They'll even help you in those areas. So reach out to either of us. We're obviously here to talk about this stuff, answer questions, and Chris is great wealth of knowledge here. So checking out SDS Modeling Co. Instagram is a really good place to start, just watching these vlogs, and yeah, just ask us any questions, basically, that any of you guys have.
All right. I think that about wraps it up for this episode, Marketing Yourself as a Model. We talked about your reputation and social media. We talked about networking. We talked about comp cards. We talked about working with an agent. We talked about a whole lot of stuff, even some mentions to our last episode on the red flags. Again, if you're interested in modeling and maybe you need help marketing yourself as a model, you can find us at sdsmodelingco.com. On there, you can find this form to submit, your application as a model. You can find us on Instagram, Facebooks, YouTubes. Search us on the Googles, anything at SDS Modeling Co. Miranda, tell the people how they can find you.
Yes, you can find me. I'm at Fur Panda on Instagram. That's FIR Panda, because nothing else rhymes with Miranda, as one of my friends once said, thus the name. So it's at FIR Panda, no spaces, just at Fur Panda on Instagram. You can also check out my website, Miranda Muses, all one word, mirandamuses.com.
Well, that's it for the episode. Again, let us know if you're interested in, getting a portfolio how-to video segment live or something. Let us know what kind of topics, what kind of questions you have, what kind of concerns or things that you've ran into as a model, or even just leave us a comment with your favorite tip or your favorite quote, and maybe it'll get a mention on the show. Again, I've been Chris, our co-host Miranda. And this has been Lights, Camera, Action. Tune in next time. Oh, Miranda, what are we talking about next episode?
Next time, we are talking about one of my favorite things, body confidence. So showing up on set and being confident in your body, which is like something I'm really passionate about. So body confidence next time.
Oh, I am excited for this episode. I can't wait to talk about body confidence. It's such a big deal, especially in today's time. Being confident it's everything as a model, and so I can't wait to dive into that. And I'm sure Miranda's going to give us some unique model and female insight into body confidence, and I'll be able to give you some photographer and business insight. Again, SDS Modeling Co. at Fur Panda. Lights, Camera, Action. Tune in next time.